Nice. And as you were talking, I know you mentioned Sarah Jakes Roberts. You remind me a lot of Sarah Jakes Roberts, and I know while as we were prepping for this this particular episode on SELFi, I know that you had mentioned that your sister and a few other people had said that you kind of favor Sarah Jakes a little bit. You kind of favor SJR a little. So
that is a compliment. I will take that. I love her. SJR, she's my friend in my head. She don't know it yet, but we don't be friends. We'll speak that into existence. So when y'all see us keying together, no, I said it was going to happen.
Nice. And so you love bringing people together, but how do you practice and maintain self-care while you're in contact with so many people? And how do you take care of yourself?
That is the question of the year, right? Like, what do you do to take care of yourself? I think that honestly, like if I'm just laying it all out there, I think that one of the things that I've really learned during this time of, quarantining or sheltered in place and like being home is that a lot of the things that I've done to balance and take care of myself and my mental health is taken away. I like to spend time with people. I like to go and just, I have friends that I can just go and hang out with them and we don't have to speak. We don't have to say words. We can just be in each other's company and, watch the same thing or, whatever. And I am like energized through that. Or even at work, like my team members at work, we have lunch together like almost every single day, regardless of what you have for lunch, whatever you brought, whatever. We kind of set aside a time where we're going to sit down and eat, almost like the cafeteria, lunchroom, whatever. Like those things have been taken away from me. And I think it's really forced me to reflect inwardly. And I think that that's something that I think is so important for anybody, particularly women. And I would say particularly Black women, especially if you're living in America and what is happening around the world and, people who look like us, who look like our family members. I think that finding time to be able to take care of yourself for yourself is so important. And so I've been reading a lot. I read a lot of books, use that as like a good escape. I like novels. Self-help books are great, but I like novels just because it's a good escape from whatever reality is currently happening, to be able to separate and pause. I've been doing more writing. I used to write a lot and I started reflecting back on some old writing. I was like, ooh, that girl, she used to have some things to say. See what she got to say now. And then I've been finding ways to really just think about like, hey, like, what is it that you want? I used to dream a lot. In my bio, I talk about like my husband and I building the life that we've always wanted together. And not losing sight of that, because I think that in life, it's not really a destination, it's a journey. So it's not about like, did I arrive there? It's like, where else can I go? What else can I do? And making sure that you have things that you're working towards, goals that you're working towards. And so, those are kind of some of the things that I've done, is just a lot of self-reflecting, music therapy, like friend therapy, just talking to somebody and being like, look, I just need to let it all out. I just need to say everything I gotta say. We can talk about solutions after, but let's just get everything on the table. And so just finding more ways to do that without looking for other people to be your healing, other people to be your self-care, making sure that you can be, satisfied within yourself and find those places, because, people come and go. And it's really important that you have your own personal identity in who you are by yourself. And so, I didn't mention reading the Bible, but definitely read the Bible. Sometimes that's not self-care though, because sometimes the Bible be checking you. You're like, oh, I didn't need that. I didn't need that word today, Lord. God, I needed love and passion. I didn't need conviction. But all of those things. But all of those things, and sometimes for me, really even a good prayer. So our church has prayer line Monday through Friday, 7 a.m., 7 p.m. And we recently had a loss in my family, and that day, so it happened Sunday night was the loss, and Monday morning I called into the prayer line, and I usually call in and just don't announce myself. I just call in and silently listen. But I spoke and said hey, pray for my family. We lost my nephew, and the prayer that morning, it was just, to me, it was so healing. I'm like, man, Lord, you know exactly how to give us exactly what we need wherever we are, whatever the situation is. I'm like, God, you're amazing like that. Like, how is it that this Bible that was written so long ago can encourage me in my situation right here, right now? Or someone can say a word or give a prayer and it just be so pertinent and connected to what I needed, even though, it wasn't necessarily written or given with me in mind. And it's like, but maybe it was. Maybe that's how God works, is that you were in mind. When we say that, like, God's mindful of you, I think that all of that, as far as recognizing what makes you feel good, is how you can keep your wellness and your mental health, even when things are crazy. It's like, what are the last time I felt really good, what was I doing?
Right.
Let me go and do that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And, I love what you said about isolation and taking some time to yourself, for yourself, and also letting it all out. I think sometimes, we as women and, especially in our leadership roles, it's like, it's so hard to just let it all out because we don't know who we can talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important, like what you said about building that network, building those relationships, and being able to just let it all out. That is so important, in practicing self-care, is letting it all out and taking some time to yourself and, just being yourself and not shying away from who you really are. Mm-hmm. And that is what you, would definitely describe as a leader, and just going into those relationships. That's actually my next question is, you've even taught some relationship classes, and you married you married young, and you married your best friend. So my next question is you got married right out of college, and you even have you've taught a relationship series. I was in it, and so how can people start and maintain those healthy relationships? What you were talking about is letting it all out, but also isolating yourself, knowing who to talk to. How can we start and maintain those healthy relationships?
Yeah, so I always feel like when you talk about relationships in whatever series, whatever ways that you're going to do that, you have to know that you take the good and you release the things that don't work for you. So I think that that's important before I say anything. So anybody who's like, well, not me, that didn't work for me, that wasn't my story. Everybody has their own personality and their own thing. So I would say, first things first, I think that you need to have God in your relationship. That's the first thing, is that God as the center of your relationship. It's going to be blessed when you keep God right there in the middle. And I know that for folks who are like, well, I'm spiritual, I'm not, I think you need to have a relationship with God too. I do. That's just my belief, because I think that's how you make things work. But I think that, go ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that that's something that is really, really important, because I think that a lot of times, and kind of my next point is knowing yourself. I think that when you have a relationship with God, so many of the things that happen in a relationship with God is this reflection of who you are, that God will reflect to you who you are. He'll show you the areas of yourself that you need to improve, the things that you need to fix, the things you need to work on. And I feel like you honestly cannot have a strong and healthy relationship if you are unsure of who you are. Now, I don't believe that you're not going to change. I think that people change, and you change, and hopefully you grow and you change together. But I think you have to know who you are. You have to know where you want to go. And I think that a lot of times, so many of us get into relationships young, and you build your identity around your relationship rather than understanding who you are and building your relationship to match your needs and to match what your wants and desires are. And so when you are spending so much time finding your identity in that relationship, and the relationship shifts or changes in any way, you're not sure of who you are or what you need or what's going on, And so I think that one of the things that made it easy for my husband and I, for us to be where we are now, and by no means do I think that our relationship is perfect, but I think that what helps us a lot is the fact that before I got with him, I had been single for 3 or 4 years. Like, I'd been just by myself, and most of my years in college, I was single, and it was fun, to just be able to not have to worry about other people and other things. I could go to, class and pick whatever schedule I wanted because I wasn't so much worried about like the confines of like, oh, I need to make sure that I have these nights off because those are nights we can have together, or, all of those different pieces. It was just like, hey, this is what you want to do. You want to go to school, you want to get this degree, you want, like, these are what you want to build towards. And I was able to do that. I was able to build friendships around who I was and who I was becoming and shifting and changing, and able to know, like, from my other friends' relationships of like, I don't think that would work for me. I don't really like that. Or so then when me and my best friend have been talking about relationships and things like that. And it's so interesting because people are like, oh yeah, well, you guys, I'm like, no, it was like very much just my best friend. And we were best friends for like 3 years from the moment that we met. It's funny because I was trying to hook him up with all my friends. I was like, you're such a good guy. You deserve a good girl. Let me hook you up. The whole time it was like, girl, you the good girl he deserves. Girl, stop thinking he's for somebody else. He's for you. And he always laughs about that too. He's like, you were trying to hook me up with crazy people. I'm like, I wasn't. He's like, you were trying to mess it up so we could be together. No, not at all.